This episode is sponsored by First Leaf. It is officially winter, except for that it's not officially winter because winter actually doesn't start till December 21st, which I didn't realize how seasons worked really until I was doing my seasonal playlist. And I was like, oh, but December feels like winter. So you know what? It's wintertime. The days are shorter, it's colder, and now more than ever, I feel like I deserve a treat. What about y'all? That's why I love my membership with First Leaf, which is a wine subscription service that sends you wine straight to your door so you don't have to leave your house. For me, in the wintertime, a red wine will do it for me every time. I don't know about y'all, but you get to pick your own preferences on the website, and then First Leaf will pick the wine that is right for you. Go ahead and treat yourself with wines from First Leaf. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon and you'll get your first 6 hand-picked wines for just $44.95. Tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon. And one more time, that's tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon. This episode is sponsored by Hinge. Hinge is the dating app that's designed to be deleted. The thing I like most about Hinge, and I think a lot of people love about Hinge, is the prompts. And it really gives people a chance to get to know you before you do any kind of connecting with each other, and you can see if someone is your type of person. While the holidays can be crazy, I know there's also a lot of random downtime, and I feel like it's a good time to look back and reflect on your dating in 2024. What did you like about the way you dated this year, and what do you want to change in the new year? Take some time to answer those questions for yourself when you have downtime this holiday season, and then go ahead and refresh your Hinge profile or download Hinge and set your 2025 dating intentions now. Okay, hi guys. My name's Shannon Beveridge. I'm the host of X's and O's, a podcast where we talk about queer relationships and sex. What's up? I don't know if I said that in my intro for this week, so I'm just saying it again. Just saying it one more time in case. I am clearly not at home. I am still in Ohio. I'm in Dayton, Ohio. I came here with Becca for Thanksgiving, and we are actually going home today. So it's my last day in Ohio. I feel like y'all probably know this, but if you didn't know, weirdly enough, Becca and I lived 8 minutes from each other when I lived in Ohio, because when I was 4, I moved to Ohio and I lived here for 3 years, and I was living in Columbus. And so the other day we went and we drove to Becca's old house that she grew up in, and then we drove from her old house to my old house 7 minutes. 7 minutes away. What are the odds of that? Gotta be crazy. But we went and we looked at both our old houses. Very nostalgic, very cute. So weird to think like my whole life would have been different, completely different if I had stayed in Ohio. Like, there's just no denying so many things would have changed. Like where I went to school would have changed. How, like, my God, my queerness would have been different. I would still be a lesbian, but I probably wouldn't have had that experience I had in high school. Or if I did, it would be with a different person. So just so weird. The sun is moving around. Okay, a couple things. Just wanted to say, please come to my tour. If you haven't bought a ticket yet and you want to meet me, I would love to meet you. I'm going on tour March 2025, and I'll have the tour poster up beside me. But yes, look and see if I'm coming to your city. I would love to meet you. I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, it's so nice to have this podcast and talk to you each week. But like, there's this disconnect where I'm like, oh my God, I get to talk, but like, I haven't seen anyone in real life in so long that it's like, am I really talking to people? Like, I did my live show in September, and that was so helpful to like reconnect in my brain that like people are listening, like real people are listening to me talking, not just like numbers on a screen. So I really feel like in March when I get to go on this tour, it's going to be so important for me to feel more connected to y'all and just like remind myself that this is real, like real, really real. And also, I just feel like in 2025 and beyond, we are going to want more and more community spaces, both with the presidency, but just also just the state of the world in general. I feel like we really could use more community, more hanging out with each other. I definitely always think about that during the holidays because I'm like, dang, where are all the gay people? I need some more gay people around. So come to my tour. I would love to meet you. And it should be so much fun. And I am lining up guests for each of the cities. And I think you guys are going to be really excited. But I will definitely be there in all of the cities. And so will Vanessa, my best friend. So come and see us. What else did I want to tell you guys? Oh, yeah. What are y'all's holiday plans? I'm going to New York for Christmas. I have done New York Christmas one time before, but it was just with my mom and my sister. And this year it'll be my dad will be there as well. And I think Becca's going to come too. So it's going to be like a different experience than the last time I did it. Because last time it was kind of lonely because it was just the three of us, which was just sad. So I'm excited for that. What are y'all doing? Please let me know. I'm very curious. I hope we all survive the holidays this year. Speaking of the holidays, I created like a tomboy gift guide. I don't know if you guys have seen, people have been doing those. Do you want to know what that is? Should I make a TikTok of it? Are you curious what that would be? Because I will do it. Last and certainly not least, I don't know if you guys saw, if you follow me on TikTok, but I had a TikTok go viral where I was talking about how Cynthia is queer from Wicked, and the reaction, just anytime you go viral anywhere, you're going to get good and bad takes. Like you're going to get the right and wrong side of whatever, or whatever, right and wrong. Who knows what is right and wrong, but you know what I mean? Like it just gets onto other people's timelines. And I thought not sure if funny is the right word. I thought the most interesting takeaway from it getting on to other people's For You pages was how many people were like, so what? Who cares? Who cares that she's gay? Who cares that she's queer? Also, by the way, I use the word gay, which to me, I thought we all knew was an umbrella term. I think she technically identifies maybe as bi or queer. Gay is queer to me. And I just wrote it because I feel like it's more like general language. So I just wrote gay, but then everyone's in there being like, this is biphobic. I use gay as an umbrella term. So anyway, that wasn't the takeaway though. The takeaway was how many people were saying, who cares? Like, why does it matter? She's also so talented. And I'm like, it matters so much. I think it matters so much to have representation, for people to see themselves on screen, for Black queer people to see themselves on screen in the biggest movie in the world, the number one movie in the world. That's amazing. That's so amazing. But yeah, it's just funny to see people not really get it still. 2024, and people are like, who cares? I'm like, we are not as evolved as you think to think it's like at a point where we don't have to care about that. Like we still have to care about that. As we can see, it's still very important. So that's my takeaway on that. Also, do you like my hat? This is technically Becca's mom's hat because Becca gave it to her. It says Hug Turkeys. It's from PETA. Okay. That's all I have for today. I have to literally pack my suitcase and go back to Los Angeles. So I love you guys so much. Please come to my tour. Also, you're going to freak out about the guest today. Have so much fun. My hair is so little frizzy back here. Okay. Love you. Bye. Okay, hi guys. I joke in this episode that this person needs no introduction, but she does need an introduction just so we can brag about all that she's accomplished. Hayley Kiyoko is my guest today. I actually cannot fucking believe that that's real. Hayley Kiyoko is my guest today. I think she is truly one of the most iconic lesbian pop culture figures of our generation and maybe forever. Like literally, she has done so much for our community in so many different ways. She's so accomplished. She's so inspiring. I literally cannot, like, what an honor. Seriously, such an honor to have her on my podcast. I can't even like gush enough about how stoked I am that she came today to talk to me. And she doesn't even do a lot of podcasts. So thank you, Hayley Kiyoko, Lesbian Jesus. Anyway, let me just brag about some of her accomplishments really quick. Okay, in case you don't know, Hayley Kiyoko is a pop star. She is a New York Times best-selling author. She is an amazing director of amazing music videos that have reached over billions of views on YouTube. And on top of all that, she's also an actress known for her part in Lemonade Mouth and also Wizards of Waverly Place. Ever heard of it? Among many other projects that she's always working on something. That girl needs a nap, but no napping today. She's here with me in my bed to film X's and O's, and I am so honored truly to have her. I genuinely believe that she is such a trailblazer, and we are so lucky as a community to have her and to have had her now for like 10 years creating this content for us. I mean, obviously she's been alive longer than that, but making queer art for us for so long. We are so blessed to have her, and I am so blessed to have her here today on my podcast. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. with Hayley, Kiyoko. Okay, we can jump in because
Oh,
I'll do
I
it.
thought you were doing your intro,
I'll do it.
and I was just gonna be quiet.
No,
on
you're
the side.
No,
Pretend like I wasn't here yet.
No, you're here. You're here. I realize I'm really bad at doing the intro, so I'm like, I'm just gonna film them alone.
Okay,
so that way
you don't feel me breathing down your neck.
Well, and so that I actually like highlight everything about the people.
Right,
like before, I kind of people were like, "Can you introduce the guests?" I'm like, "They're so iconic. What do you need to know?"
Where do we begin?
Search it up yourself.
Right.
I don't think you even need an introduction.
Oh, I don't think you need an introduction.
Hey,
Shannon.
Not on this podcast.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if you know what time it is, but Shannon's a real one.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m.
Bright and early.
Which is really, everyone's
it's
gonna be like, that's not
bright
early.
That's almost lunch.
But it's hard to be like, have a personality that early.
Yeah, no, my personality like kicks in probably in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Probably right when we finish.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But maybe it'll just like jumpstart because
we're here. Our personalities are set. We're ready to go.
I love your glasses, by the way.
Thank you. They're actually prescription.
Oh, good.
Because I can see, and I'm very sensitive to light. So like the tints.
Oh God.
I'm really like an old man. Like I genuinely, it's just people have no idea.
Are we the same age?
33.
32.
Okay. Basically the same.
Have you been an old man for a long time?
My whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, my whole life. I'm very sensitive. But yeah, like they're cool.
They're
but
really
like no
cool.
one knows that I like actually need them.
You need them too. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I need them.
Are you from LA?
Born and raised.
Yeah.
I grew up in Agora Hills.
Nice.
And now it's like this like popular place with celebrities and like vegan restaurants. We did not have that when I grew up there. But yeah, I'm born and raised Valley girl.
That's crazy.
Never left.
That is. How is it dating someone who's so not from LA?
It's cool. I mean, when Becca and I go to parties though, like we always laugh because Becca can have a conversation with a brick wall and she'll be like, hey, how are you? Oh, where are you from? And they'll be like, oh, I'm from Texas. She'll be like, I'm from Shreveport. And they'll just like start
have something
chatting.
to riff.
And then I've tried to learn some social skills from her. And so I was like, okay. I was like, what do I do? And she goes, well, you ask them where they're from and then you like connect. And I was like, okay. So I go to do it at a party one time. It's like, hey, where are you from? They're like, oh, I'm from, New York. And I was like, I'm from LA. And then the conversation just died. Like
where do you go from there?
Like, like I said, I'm from Los Angeles and no one cares. So
I feel like I would know what to say. I'd be like, no, well, you've heard the whole thing a million times, I'm sure. Everyone's like, no way, no one's from LA.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I've heard that too. But like, or there's just not the whole point was to connect.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do now is I'll go, oh, I'm from Los Angeles, but my girlfriend's from Shreveport.
There you go.
And they'll be like, oh my gosh, my friend lives in Florida. And then all of a sudden they're like talking because everything's like way closer.
That is so smart.
I didn't pay attention to geography class.
That's a good way to use your girlfriend.
Totally. Yeah. No, she helps with my social anxiety. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have social anxiety?
Definitely.
Really?
I think when I'm working, I don't.
Okay.
Like when I'm working, I'm boss mode and I feel like I'm very direct. Mm-hmm. But when I'm not working, I don't know if it's like queer trauma or just like trauma, but I grew up having a lot of social anxiety of like not being invited and then like going to the party and like really feeling being other and feeling different from other people. And so I have a hard time like having conversations with people.
That's interesting.
Not about work.
Yeah.
Which is a skill I'm trying to have.
That makes sense.
I do care about other people and about having conversations.
I like
it's just
people.
that like I don't have a lot of experience because I think growing up I didn't exercise that
skill enough. Yeah, but you've also been working for so long, right?
Yes.
Like forever. When did you start? Because you were in commercials and stuff when you were little, right?
My very first gig was a GM OnStar commercial.
Fuck yeah. Which I feel like, does that even exist anymore? Like the OnStar?
Tried to find it online. It's a very dramatic because it's about like car crashes and it's like these like little kids and they're like, someone should, and I like look into the camera like all sad. I know. But I was like really excited because I, was like the cool chick and I had my short hair and it was like flared out and
you loved
lots of
haircut.
layers. But I was like 13 when I booked it.
Oh,
it was my first commercial and I was like, oh my gosh. This is it.
I've made it.
But I started with commercials.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be a musician.
The whole time?
Yeah. Like I saw NSYNC, No Strings Attached.
You're like,
at
that's
the
me.
Staples Center. And I'm like, that is me.
Yeah, it is you.
I am them. They are me,
Literally,
etc.
that is you.
I'm pretty sure Joey Fatone saw me and like waved hi.
100%.
I'm pretty sure he remembers that.
Definitely.
And I was like, I'm going to be in sync.
Yeah.
That's going to be me.
I'm surprised you didn't resonate more with like Lance.
I know I didn't.
No.
So crazy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Wait, that's insane,
But
right?
we're but
Is
now
that
I'm friends
Backstreet
with
Boys?
Lance. Huh?
Is he Backstreet? He's
Lance
insane.
isn't, how dare you? Lance isn't in sync.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but I was like a boy band like fanatic.
Yeah,
and
that makes
so
sense.
that's what I wanted to be.
There's
is
something
to
queer
be in a boy
about
band.
that because you were aspiring to be them, not to date them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know what I
I wanted
mean?
to be them.
Yeah.
I wanted the girls screaming.
I wanted to be Harry Styles.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like later on in life. But
Yeah. I feel like I wish I could be Harry Styles
I think
as well.
everyone still
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I want like a.
Currently.
I always tell Becca, I'm like, all the cute guys have butterfly tattoos.
do you have one? Do you have
No.
tattoos?
No.
Not
I'm
one?
not a cute guy. No.
You don't have one single tattoo?
No single tattoo.
What?
Yeah. I'm a virgin.
That feels like, I feel like you would have one.
I have no tattoo. I thought about getting one this year, but I have a tough. So I'm a Libra rising, and so
I'm still
it needs to be
you saying I'm a virgin.
my body. I have no tattoos, not a single one.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
Not a single one. I hope to have them because I feel like they're cute.
Yeah.
but I feel like I also would get over them quickly.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's hard for me to like fully commit.
I think that's my fear too. But that's why I have like really tiny ones because I'm like, I can get rid of that. I have like commitment issues in
me too.
different ways.
Right.
This episode is sponsored by First Leaf. It's December now. It's definitely feeling like winter. The days are so short. Why are they so short? Is that necessary, really, for the sun to go down at 5 p.m.? But when the sun goes down, I also don't want to go and leave my house anymore. And that's why having a wine subscription service with First Leaf is so clutch year-round, but especially in the winter. It's so convenient to have a subscription with First Leaf and know that you're going to have a good bottle of wine around to either take to a dinner party, or if you're hosting a dinner party. I feel like a lot of dinner parties are happening around this time of year. So having wine on hand, so nice, so convenient. Highly recommend. I've had a subscription service with First Leaf, I think for like over 2 years. I can't even remember at this point. It's become such a like thing in my life that I just expect to be there. And having the delivery come is also really, really convenient and easy. And you can schedule it online with First Leaf to make sure you never miss your box of wine. First Leaf gets to know your preferences, whether you like red or white or sweet or dry. You just go online, fill out their little preference sheet, and then they pick the wine for you, which is nice if you don't know that much about wine, which I don't know that much about wine, so it's convenient that they just pick it for you. And you're guaranteed to love the wine, and if you don't, they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Go ahead and treat yourself to wine from First Leaf. You can go to tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon and get your first 6 hand-picked bottles of wine for $44.95. That's tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon. And one more time, that's tryfirstleaf.com/Shannon. This episode is sponsored by Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. I know the holidays are really crazy and they can feel super busy, but there's so much time to sit and reflect during holidays, in my opinion. Whether you're traveling home and you're on an airplane for a long time, or you're just in between some family event, sitting on the couch being like, what should I do right now? I think a great thing you could do is reflect back on 2024 and how your dating looked, how it felt, and how you want it to feel in 2025. Are there things you want to do differently? Are you looking for a more serious relationship? Did you enjoy the way you dated in 2024? Do you like your dating profile on Hinge the way it is right now? Before the new year starts, take some time, refresh your Hinge profile, whether that means changing the prompt questions you have or changing a few pictures to better reflect how you feel, how you look. Did you get a haircut? A lot can change in a year. How have you changed? And how do you want to change next year? I think that's really important to think about. My favorite thing about Hinge is the prompts so that people can get to know you a little more before you even connect with each other. And there's so much you can pack into those prompts to really give people an insight into who you are. So I think it's important to take the prompts seriously, but also please, please, please be a little silly. Don't take yourself too seriously. But that's my personal opinion. Maybe you're really serious. And maybe you want to attract very serious people. And guess what? That's up to you. Because on Hinge, you get to control all your answers to your prompts and all your photos. And then you get to attract the exact person that you want. There's one prompt in particular that could be an amazing jumping point for you. It literally says, "This year I want to ... I feel like this is a great opportunity to put in something that someone could ask you on a date to do that thing. So if you get really specific, like say, God, I don't know, I want to go ice skating. I feel like that's a really great way for someone to slide in and create a date that's perfect for what you want. I think it just like gives people a starting point. I don't know if you want to ice skate though. But what do you want to do? Refresh your Hinge profile early or download Hinge and set your 2025 dating intentions now. Go find the love of your life and then delete that app. This episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. Being an adult has its highs, like you can do pretty much what you want when you want. Did I order food after Thanksgiving dinner? Yeah, I did. Can anyone stop me? No, they can't. But being an adult also means making your own doctor's appointments, which I personally could do without until I discovered ZocDoc. I'm no longer stressed out to make my doctor's appointments anymore because they make it so easy. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. I'm talking about in-network appointments with over 100,000 healthcare providers in every specialty. From mental health to dental health, from eye care to skin care, and everything in between. Plus, ZocDoc appointments typically happen fast, anywhere from 24 to 72 hours after your book, but you can also sometimes snag same-day appointments. I've personally used ZocDoc for myself. I recommend it to all my friends anytime they're sick or they are looking for a doctor and they get overwhelmed because I think finding a doctor can just be so overwhelming. I know we're all adults, ? We're supposed to be, but like, does anyone really know what they're doing? ZocDoc makes it so much easier and really, really convenient. So I highly recommend you check it out if you never have and if you have been putting off your doctor's appointments. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/exes and find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/exes. And one more time, that's ZocDoc.com/exes.
Yeah.
I love to
I know. And I also
commit.
want it to like mean something. I want it to be like the right drawing and like, you know.
Perfectionist.
Yeah. So that holds me back sometimes, AKA no tattoos.
I feel you. That makes sense. Okay, wait. I want to go back to the like queer trauma of having social anxiety, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like a lot of people probably have that and or your social skills almost get better because you do so much masking that you're, even though you feel very anxious, you appear to be very calm and like confident. Because I feel like that's kind of what I've done more so. Because I'll tell people I have social anxiety and they're like, you don't seem like you do. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand the turmoil in my brain. It's like, is this how people stand? Is this how people talk? Is this what girls do?
Am I breathing?
Yeah, literally. I'm like, and what would a girl do next? And does a girl hold her phone like this or like a drink like that? And like, it like affects you. It can go either way. But I feel like because you went straight to work, maybe you would have honed that skill more, but you got straight into like the business at such a young age.
Yeah, I think I used work as like an excuse to be busy. So when I wasn't invited to things, it didn't hurt my feelings as much.
That makes me want to cry.
But it's true. Like I was in competitive dancing when I was young. And so I was doing like 18 hours of dance a week. And so it'd be like when I'd see the parties that I wasn't invited to, it was like, oh, well, I wouldn't have been able to go anyways because I'm so busy.
Totally.
And so I think a big part of my whole life and what has led me to where I am now was that, you know, this confidence. I was like, yeah, I'm like so busy. I don't have time to go. But obviously deep down, I was like sad because I wanted to get like invited.
Yeah.
And I think that was like my whole social life. Like I was always like the friend that during lunch would go to each table and like check in. But no one ever knew where my table was. And I think that I didn't know where my table was either. But I would check in with people and then it'd be like Friday, but no one would invite me because they go, oh, I have my own group. But no one ever knew my group and I didn't know my group.
Yep.
And so then I'd like watch TV with my mom. Or I would write music and be like really sad on my guitar and like, you know,
that's so
sing
sweet.
to myself.
But
This got really sad really quick.
I just
We're only
to
5
myself.
minutes in.
Okay, but I feel like that is like that's your origin story of like being an artist, which you're obviously so successful at. So thank God you spent that time singing to yourself.
Yeah, we love the trauma.
Yeah,
here we are.
Trauma. Turn your trauma into art.
Exactly.
And also, okay, so, but your first big gigs were acting, right? Mm-hmm. Like Lemonade Mouth and the Disney Channel stuff before your own solo career like really took off, right? Like music wise.
Yeah, like my goal was always to be in sync.
Yeah.
But like, how do you become a pop star? Like literally, how does one do that? And so I didn't know, like most people, and so I took any opportunity I got, which was acting. So like I literally started from the ground up. I did like PSA drug commercials, and then I did national commercials, and then I did like guest star. I was like hip hop girl #1 on Unfabulous on Nickelodeon.
No way.
Like I literally climbed my way up, and then eventually booked. Scooby Doo was my first like real like big role.
Really?
In something.
How old were you?
I think I was 9. No, I was 17. I was 17 when I did Scooby Doo. So that was like my very first like thing. And then I did Lemonade Mouth when I was 19. So then I started to book some like bigger roles.
Yeah.
But my goal was always to be a musician. And the funny part is that most of the roles I would book would be a musician. So like pretending to be a musician.
Yeah.
I did like a Kmart commercial. I was like playing the bass like to We're the Kids in America, and I'm like rocking out, and everything was like music focused. So like I knew I had something. It just like I couldn't figure out how to get it to like not be fake.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
that
Like,
makes sense.
Not pretending to be a musician.
Because is your mom a choreographer?
Yeah, she's an ice skating choreographer.
What?
Yeah, she's a badass. She's like World Hall of Fame, like just a incredible ice skating choreographer.
Would that make you a Nepo baby?
No, people call me a nepo baby. I'm like, what do you freaking talk? I don't know if you can cuss.
No, you can cuss.
What are you fucking talking about? No, my parents are like, struggling artists. Like my mom was in the ice capades at 17, and she's like an amazing choreographer and choreographed for like Michelle Kwan and all these people, but she's still like an artist. And then my dad was a stand-up comedian.
No way.
And so like I always had one parent home. So like my mom would be gone and my dad would take care of us, and then he would be gone and she would take. So it's just like back and forth.
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself a nepo baby at all, because nothing that they've done
They didn't really.
It really I'm not going to take that away from them. They did put me into dance class. They were able to provide, rock camp classes, just stuff like that really led me to where I am. But everything that I've done has been on my own. Yeah. So I don't resonate with that.
No. Yeah,
on a personal level.
Yeah, I feel like people
I would have loved to have a hand up and like, hey, my kid's a great actor, put them in blah blah blah. Yeah. Or like, hey, I would love that.
That would have been nice.
I think that's great for the people who have that. Yeah. Like, good for them.
Wait, how did you not end up ice skating?
I do ice skate. I have my own skates. Yeah.
What? Are you good?
That used to be like my go-to thing. I was like, when I would like when I was single, when I was like dating, when I was like, back in the day. Yeah. I'd be like, hey, like during the holidays, I'd be like, hey, do you know how to ice skate? And they'd be like, no, I've never ice skated before. And I was like, we could go to the ice rink. I could get free tickets at the ice rink. Yeah. And then I would be like, bring my own ice skates, and I'd pull out my bag with these white ice skates, barely broken in. They'd be like, you have your own ice skates? And I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd like just do some turns on the ice. I'm very cool, as you can see. Yeah, I've got lots of game.
Okay, that you were nepo babying your dates.
Yes, in the ice skating world, for sure.
There you go. And did you take Becca ice skating ever?
I'm trying to think I didn't need to do that with her. Yeah, because that's when you knew it was true love. Like I didn't need to take her on the ice.
You didn't have to flex on her like that.
I feel like maybe my memory is kind of bad, but I feel. Maybe, but that definitely wasn't like the move I had on her. No. At all. No.
What was the move you had on her? I feel like, isn't it crazy? I mean, sorry, I'm totally sidetracking, but does it feel so amazing to finally get to actually talk about Becca so much?
Yes.
After like years of.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have not talked about it.
Yeah. Like you don't
It's also just been like to protect her, journey and stuff like that. And even though it's been a couple of years, like I haven't really been able to talk about it. So, I mean, even with music, like I didn't like my whole last album, I didn't write about it or anything because it was just such a thing that we needed to like protect.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Yeah. But now you get to. So what was your move on Becca?
Well, it's funny because it transitions into my next book.
Yeah, perfect. We love a segue.
My new book is actually inspired by our meet cute.
Cute. Yeah. Which I was at.
Which you were at.
I was there.
Which is crazy. So we'll talk about the book later. But my meet cute with Becca was... I had my Expectations album release party at No Vacancy.
Classic.
And one of my ex's friends, she always had like a lot of cute friends. So I invited her to the party and she brought Becca as a +1. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's from The Bachelor. And I'm like a crazy Bachelor fan. But obviously I didn't tell her that, which was like
smart
mistake number one.
Oh, you should have told her?
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't have lied. Like I should have been like, oh my gosh, I've seen you. But I like pretended I didn't know where she was.
Okay, perfect.
And yeah, so long story short, we were talking and she was trying to hook me up with her younger sister, Hink.
Who is so much younger.
So much younger. And especially like way back, like really young, like 20 maybe. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, but I'm interested in you. And so she's like, no, like I'm emotionally unavailable, blah, blah, blah. And so she was like, but let me hook you up with my younger sister. So a couple days go by. And did she tell you this story?
Not from your perspective.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so, no one's heard it from my perspective.
Yeah,
might be different.
We
might
need
be
it from yours.
We're not sure.
We're about to find out. You guys can cross-reference.
So she hooked me up with her younger sister. We were going to get drinks on a Friday. We met on a Wednesday. We went to go get drinks on a Friday, and her younger sister bailed. And so she felt bad for me and went instead. And meanwhile, on my end, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to take this girl from The Bachelor out. She probably goes to these fancy places. I don't really drink. So I'm like calling my friends, like, where do I take her? Like, I literally don't know where to go.
You're like, should we go ice skating?
Yeah. I've got my skates in the trunk. I called my friend who's more like in a socialite, and she's like, I'm at Chateau. Like, I'll get you a table. And we were like new friends at the time. So I was like, is she fucking with me? Like, am I going to actually have a table? I've never been to Chateau.
Yeah.
So I go to Chateau and I'm like, okay, I got to get there before Becca because I got to make sure we have a table. And of course I arrive right when Becca arrives. Perfect. And we're doing this like slow walk up and I like go, I say the girl's name and I'm like, for two. And she goes, right this way. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so anyways, we got drinks and that friend at Chateau, she's messing with me. She's sending girls to the table. Classic. And Becca's like this, like, nice, sweet girl. And these women are coming up like going, Hayley, why haven't you called me back? Why blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at these people like, I don't know who these girls are. And like Becca's like, this girl's obviously a player, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like looking at Ornella from like across the room and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, please stop.
Anyways, that was kind of our meet cute. And then a couple days later, we met up again and then Becca kissed me. But the whole setup is that, she wanted me to be with her younger sister, but I wanted to be with her.
Yeah. And then she felt bad for you.
And she was like, I've never had drinks with a lesbian before. Like, am I going to be safe? You know what I mean? Like, she was literally concerned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she was safe. She survived. Lesbians are safe.
Yeah. I would say safer
I would
than
say
the
so
majority of us.
Yeah, the majority of us.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So anyways, my YA book, Where There's Room for Us, is inspired by that meet cute. But I made it into a queer hyper reality set in the 1800s.
Oh, obviously. Obviously.
Yeah, of course. Because I love like period pieces and I never see myself in period pieces.
Yeah.
So it's like a Pride and Prejudice meets Little Women.
Cool.
But queer hyper reality where you can be queer, but you're not like equal.
Got it.
And so like men, like two gay men, for example, could continue their inheritance, but two women married can't.
Oh my God, fun.
And so it's a really fun love story, and there's the sisters and just chaos, and the funniest part about it is that Becca hates period pieces.
Oh, good.
And I love period pieces. She's like, of course you took our meet cute and spinned it into a period piece.
I don't like. Perfect. Thank you so much.
But it's really fun.
I can't wait to read it. That's so awesome.
Thanks.
And such a switch up from your first book.
Yes.
Which is...
Girls Like Girls has been something that's been around forever. And so it's been exciting that now Girls Like Girls is out. I can finally move forward and share all these other stories that I've been really wanting to tell.
So
and this is, Where There's Room for Us has been something I've been wanting to do for like a long time.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting to finally get to like do that.
That's so fun. Also so fun to make it like hyper reality, because then you have so much room to play.
Yeah, I know. I was torn because the trauma is real, and but I was like, I want to thrive, and I think for me, I want to create queer hopeful content, and I wanted to be like, okay, what would it be like if I could be a lesbian in the 1800s and I fall in love with this girl who's like totally different from me? Like, what would that look like? And like, would there still be struggles, and like, would it still be forbidden love? And I loved that concept and idea of how I could exist in that space.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fun about like storytelling and just kind of like fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
What do you feel like? I feel like you're so creative and you're doing so much stuff. Like, do you think your fans resonate with the stuff that you make that you resonate with most? Or is it like, do they connect with stuff that you're kind of like, I'm over that?
Oh, no, I feel like we're very aligned.
Yeah.
I feel like, aren't we? I feel like we're very aligned.
How do you guys feel?
How do you feel? I feel like the things that I'm most passionate about and are the most like honest and authentic are the things that resonate with my fans. And then, sometimes as an artist and as a musician, you get kind of steered into different directions, and I definitely have moments in my career where I've noted what happened and it didn't resonate because I wasn't resonating with it. And so I think the constant challenge as an artist is to always check in with yourself and be like, is this authentic to you? Like, is this the story that you want to tell? Like, ignore everyone else. Like, what do you want to do? And I find that when I look back on my career, the best moments are those moments.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I was assuming. Yeah. Also, it must have been interesting / hard for you because, I feel like lesbians are having such a renaissance right now. Everyone's like, fuck yeah, lesbians are awesome. But you were being a lesbian before.
I was being a lesbian.
Hey, you've been being a lesbian, Hayley Kiyoko. I don't know if you know. But you were being a lesbian before everyone was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, that makes you cool. Like, you were like, right now it's cool to be a lesbian. I feel like when you were first coming out making like Girls Like Girls even, it wasn't like, people were not like, that is so cool to be a lesbian, right?
We weren't having a lesbian renaissance.
No. I feel like we were making content kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
Where it was,
we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it was like, where it was almost like radical to just be like,
it's like,
I like kissing girls. Like, that's
it was scary. Like when I did Girls Like Girls in 2015, it was like there was like no music videos of two women, and if there were, it was really hard to find.
Or it was like hypersexualized and for the male gaze. Or directed by
a man, a cis white man.
Yeah, totally.
It was a very, very different time, and I'll never forget that time. It was hard. It was really hard to kind of break through and be like, hey, I want to be a pop star. And by the way, I want to have girls dancing on me, or I want to do music videos with another woman. And it was a very different conversation than where we are now. And I'm grateful that there's been so much growth and that, because that's been like my whole goal is to normalize, you know, our existence and to be able to thrive. And it's been so cool to get to see this time of queer artists really like getting into the mainstream and like succeeding and being able to pay their bills.
Yeah. That part for
like,
sure.
That's like really important.
Yeah. And like headlining like these like Lollapaloozas and stuff where it's like, oh, we're not just like letting you be here. were shining a light on you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
everyone, not just like, because I feel like we just started in a time where it was so, like our audience became so niche. So it's cool to watch like a Renee Rapp have a very straight fan base as well as a queer fan base. Whereas I feel like it just was like a product of the time, but also of the industry when you were first making your stuff, that it was like siloed more. Like it's like, this is for girls, this is for lesbians, this is like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't understand that lesbian love is also universal to all people. It's the same
straight
shit.
people like us too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But I feel like, I don't know, just a testament to you, obviously, that you started then and like broke boundaries. And also now these people like definitely, like you were like a stepping stone for them to be able to be the artists that they are now, which is sick.
Thank you. That's really nice.
I mean, for sure, it's the truth.
You too. I mean, we were like just putting ourselves out there, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have that representation, right? We didn't have that person to like just rely on and connect with. And so, you know, in times of necessity, you become that person that you needed most. And I think both of us did that in that time. And it's so cool to be sitting here with you on this circular bed that people can't see.
It's a circle, y'all. It's a circle.
And to know that we're still in it, you know, like it's challenging. It's a challenging industry, and wanting to create and express yourself, and to be able to do that for, I don't know, it's been like
to have
10
longevity,
years, not to like make us sound like 152.
We
but
are.
like, you know, we've been around.
We've been around.
We've seen it.
Hey, we've seen some shit. Yeah, but no, it's so true. Do people ever ask you what gave you like the bravery to do that and to be yourself and to be so authentic?
Well, I don't. For me, like I mean, it always goes back to Girls Like Girls, because I was releasing this EP, The Side of Paradise, and I'd like make a decision of like, I wrote this really gay song, but I don't want to out myself. But if I do release it, it will out me. And that was kind of like this pivotal moment where I was like, it's now or never. And I was like, well, I'm not that. No one knows me, so what do I have to lose, you know? And so I threw it on there, shot the music video, and I at the time I didn't put myself in the video because I think I was like trying to come out, but also like protect myself as well. Which hindsight, looking back, I wish I just like put myself in the forefront and allowed myself to be in the front. But, you know, that's where I was at during my journey. Totally. And so that's what made me feel like safe. And I wasn't out to like the industry. I just like the people in my circle knew. But yeah, I mean, I think it just, your truth allows you to really shine. And like when you're not sharing your truth, you're dying inside, like honestly.
No,
and so like
true.
you know, I've known I was a lesbian since I was 5. And so like to carry that for so long and to be in my early 20s and to finally have this moment where I'm like, I could release that from myself and like take that off of me and see what happens. That was kind of like the pivotal moment of like, I need to do this, like for myself.
Yeah.
And you know, I was fortunate enough to have that power. A lot of people, unfortunately, get outed and they don't get to choose when they get to share that information. And so I felt very fortunate to be able to make that decision. And then the rest is kind of history. I mean, like I released it and found hundreds of thousands of people that felt the way I felt. And I was like, oh, where were you in high school? It's so funny because I'll run into people from high school and like they'll have their head shaved and they're just like totally presenting their authentic truth and self. And I'll be like, where were you? Like, why weren't we all like friends in high school?
Literally.
Like we needed each other.
That's still not happening to me.
I didn't have any queer friends until, I guess, since I came out, you know, in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Or at least I knew of.
Queer.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's a question I get asked so often is like, what made you brave enough to make the content? Like, what made you hit post on that stuff? And I feel like we feel very similarly that it was out of necessity, not out of like bravery. Like, I don't think I was especially brave at the time. I think I just was like maybe gonna die if I didn't do it. Like, it was like, it's this or the alternative is very dark. So I have to share so that I can feel less alone. And like, I feel like that's kind of obviously what everyone's doing all the time, especially with the internet or like their art or whatever. It's just looking for connection, looking for the people that you don't see. And when you make it, the people come. You know what I mean? It's like you made that and then you're like, oh, there you all are. Yeah. I figured you were somewhere, but also isn't it kind of crazy? I kind of thought I was the only lesbian.
I'm so sorry to tell you that you were not.
Thank God I'm
the
not.
only
Thank
one.
God I'm not. But no, growing up I was like, I got to be the only one feeling this way. This is crazy. Like, and you're not seeing anything to make you feel otherwise. So you're like, oh. But yeah, I remember watching your music video and many times being like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I love that.
And all of them after that too. They're all so good. And do you feel like because you didn't put yourself in the first one, does that make you feel more like passionate about putting yourself in all the ones after that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely why after that one, I put myself in Cliff's Edge and then Sleepover. And it felt uncomfortable for me. But I just like, for every music video I've released, if you follow the line in order, I did something different that I've never done before, just out of like the fact that I was scared. And so Cliff's Edge, I just like threw myself in there and I was like, and then I'm going to make out with someone. And I was like, I don't know how to do that, but we're going to try, you know? And I'm just going to direct all of my music videos and have that creative control. And I got to shoot some music videos on film, which was really fun to do.
So sick.
And, you know, every time I try to just do something different, you know, the music video industry now, unless you're like top 1%, you can't make music videos as much as you could have. I mean, the videos I was doing was like for $5,000, which is a lot of money in like the world. But like in music videos, it's like barely anything.
People are making,
everyone's
like,
working for free, and you can't ask people to work for free after 10 music videos. You know what I mean? And so the music videos, like, it was like such a special moment, and I wish they could continue. And I hope that like one day when I have like a hit, that I'll be able to like do music videos again. But it just was like, no one's paying for them anymore.
Yeah. It's so crazy. No one is paying for them anymore.
I know. It's insane.
But then it's like the allocation of money is just so fucked. It's like $500,000 for this one artist music video. It's like, why don't we just give everyone like $30,000? I
know. I was reading, there was an article of something like, hey, like, why don't we stop making $200 million films and make like $10 million films?
Yeah, literally.
Like, allow people to share their stories and get more representation out there, you know?
So real. Except for, I'm so glad they gave Wicked all that money.
Absolutely. No, we're not complaining at all. No, we're obsessed.
Wicked, take that money. You needed it. Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it twice. I'm holding space for Defying Gravity.
As you should. As we must.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. But we don't have to get into that. What did I want to tell you about music? Oh, music. So how are you feeling about music in general, like your own artist project, making it?
I mean, I love music. I'll always be writing music. I think for me, because I wasn't able to have like the tools and resources to tell the stories that I wanted to tell, I started putting my energy into writing books because that was just a more like feasible thing of like creating this world in the 1800s. Like, I, you know, right now could not shoot a music video set in the 1800s.
Yeah, so true. So true.
I don't have the budget for that. So I'm obviously writing music. I will be releasing more music soon, but I'm definitely just in this hiatus of figuring out, because the music industry is so challenging. We talked about it too. A lot of people just don't understand. It's like so hard to be an artist, to pay your bills, to have a successful tour, to come home with no money. Yeah. Which most fans don't even know that. Like, you literally come home, you have no money, your body's like brutalized, your mental health is in the trash.
Totally.
And then you have to somehow find a job.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's been writing books and being able to come home to refuel and to write and to tell stories. It doesn't brutalize my body. You know, I'm able to make more than a half a cent on a book.
Totally.
And so it's just become more like economical for me to tell the stories that I want to tell. And like my dream is to write books and to direct the films and the TV shows for it, and then to write the music for it, and then be able to tour that music. And so I have a plan.
Yeah.
I'm still like figuring out the economics of it. But I'm just trying to make it more sustainable, because I want to be writing music till I'm, not
Forever.
on this earth.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of artists, it's like, how do you sustain 10, 20 years in the business when it takes 10 years? I mean, you've seen Chapel, like it takes 10 years to have that moment. And like, how do you stay in the game until you have that moment? And then once you have that moment,
How do you keep the moment going?
Yeah, Jules. I mean, listen, life is tough. Here we are.
It's
on a
crazy.
bed talking about life. But we're getting through, and I love performing. That's like my motivation. I mean, hello. I love dancing and singing and getting to do my Panorama tour last year. Can't believe that was only last year. Was just so fulfilling for me. And, I think touring is just hard for artists to do. And so when you do get to tour, it's just like, this is such a blessing, because you don't know when you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And labels, like so many amazing artists are now unsigned. They leave their labels. Like they're not, funding their tours as much as they used to do. And that's a lot of times why you like are with a label.
Yeah.
So you can.
For a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
They're the money.
Yeah.
They're the money.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just so, the whole touring industry is crazy, scary. I'm going on a tour, but it's
you're gonna be fine. I'm like, well, you're gonna.
Mine's a lot different. No, so I'll be sitting, you'll be talking, fine. And the overhead is so little, so it's not the same.
I should have become a DJ.
Exactly.
They have cracked the code.
They make so much
Show
money.
Show up with a computer. You plug in.
Go to Vegas a few weekends.
You do 3 shows a night. Like, you're good.
It's so real. It's so true. Which I feel like in general, like that's the whole thing about art that's so scary, is like the risk assessment of how much to put back in.
Right.
Like especially
give and take.
Yeah. Especially after years and years, you're like, when am I going to be not wanting to do that to my body? Also, can we talk about your body? That's such a weird segue.
My body is here.
My body, my choice. Yeah. What is it? Didn't you say something like in Lemonade Mouth about your shirt?
Oh, yeah. Like, well, it's be heard, be strong, be proud.
But but I do stand up and you're like,
I go,
my shirt, my choice, or something.
Yeah. No one's going to take away your rights. I don't have it memorized. That was a long time ago.
Your lines?
But it does feel like I would have said my body, my choice. But I don't think I do.
I think you'll say like my shirt, my choice, which is crazy.
I was improvising, so I can't confirm or deny.
All right, we'll have to look and find out. But
which is hilarious, by the way, just before we even move forward, is like, I didn't understand that Stella was literally going to be me.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was playing Stella, and at the time I wasn't out. And now when I watch Lemonade Mouth now, I'm like, holy, this is like a weird like foreshadowing of like my life and like what I ended up doing in my career. It's freaky.
And like, which came first?
I'm just like, standing in auditoriums, like screaming at people.
Hey, my body, my choice. My shirt, my choice. Do you think, which came first? Do you think they met you and wrote the character, like knowing that?
No, the character, it was a book. It was a book.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you just became.
I just was the character,
I guess.
That's
kind of like divine.
Yeah.
And you still have fans from that. Like.
Half the people don't even know I do music. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I love you from Lemonade Mouth." They're like, they're like 14. They're like, "You were my childhood." I'm like, this is crazy.
That is crazy. Disney Channel is crazy. Okay, but your body.
Oh yeah, what about me? Yeah.
It's such a strange segue, but my point was like, you've had like a bunch of physical health situations, like your concussion, and then black mold. And then how are you? And how did you like make so much stuff in the time of feeling not good?
Yeah. Honestly, it's been a whirlwind. Like, and my fans know, like, I had a really bad concussion. I was double concussed in 2016, and I lost a lot of cognitive skills and was really struggling. And it was hard. Like, I had written almost half or like 70% of the album at that time. And then obviously I had like Mercy/Gatekeeper and Expectations. So there were some songs about like my concussed state. But I was messed up, like for sure. Like my first album cycle, I would do a show and then I'd come get off the stage like just crying because and anything that I did that I loved, I couldn't love anymore because like lights hurt, sound hurt, busyness hurt, like everything just hurt. And if you've dealt with post-concussion syndrome, it's like it lingers and you just don't know. Like you basically go to the doctor and they're like, well, maybe you'll get better or you won't. Here's some drugs.
Yeah.
Like literally that's the conversation. And that was 5-6 years of my life. And then from there, you know, I had like a gallon Ziploc bag of medication I was taking for my migraines and all that stuff. Then my GI went down. And so now I have all these like food allergies and GI issues. And then it just was like a spiral event. And then I found I was living in black mold for the last like 6 years. And my landlords, I will say, if you're listening and you rent, never let the landlord pay for the mold specialist to come in. Like have them do that and then hire your own mold specialist. And it sucks. It's like $600-700.
Yeah.
But you bring them in, which is what I did. And the wall that they were going to replace that they didn't find black mold in was black mold that they had just continued to paint over.
No.
With paint.
Like it was on the wall and
yes,
they were painting.
it was by my laundry and dryer.
That's insane.
And so anyways, if you're dealing with issues, you should just hire someone because I've been living there. My autoimmune issues have been my body's just been going down. And so I've moved out.
Yeah. And moved in.
And now I live with my girlfriend and it's great. It's the push that we needed.
Yeah. You guys did like... For as much as you U-hauled emotionally,
yes,
you really did not U-haul physically.
We've been fighting the U-haul, because we like to just be our own selves. We also are very independent people, and to be honest, we have been living like we spend every single night together and moment together. It's just during the day, you know, we have our own space, and at a certain time it was really nice, but it also just became so annoying. Like I told Beck, I was like, I can't believe we only have to buy one Christmas tree this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like
that you've been
crazy.
Doing,
yeah, we're like, okay, we're gonna do Christmas decorations to your place, and then on Friday we're gonna go to my place and get a tree. And it's like we've always had our separate thing,
which is nice.
Yeah,
until it's not nice,
and then it gets exhausting.
Yeah, and expensive.
Yeah, and expensive,
especially if you're spending every.
Yeah, so now we get to get one tree.
Yeah, but how has that been living together? Like
it's been great.
Easy transition.
It's so nice. It's like you're not like, which house do we go to? Yeah. And like, oh my gosh, I left my belt at my play. You know, it was always like,
it's like being like it just having divorced
so
parents.
Annoying. Yeah, it just was so frustrating, and it's so nice to live together, and you know we're doing great, and we just have the best time together. So it's really nice to be in one place. So nice. Yeah.
You guys have such a sweet relationship. Like before anyone comes on, I just go through all social media and I'll like read all the Instagram captions and like look at all the TikToks. And that was last night I was talking to my girlfriend, Becca. Lots of Beccas.
High fives to Beccas.
Hey. And I said, wow, they just have like the sweetest relationship, the way that they talk about each other. Because I had already done that to Becca, stalked her, and had the same experience. And then I was doing it from your perspective. And I was like, they're so nice to each other. It's like adorable. I'm kind of grossed out, but I also like how for you to keep that going too for what, 6 years? Yeah. You've been together 6 years. Yeah. That's good for you.
Thanks.
It's like a big deal.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, listen, we've definitely done couples therapy, and I think that was like a huge thing for us. Like, and I highly recommend it if you have the opportunity to experience that, because like it just brought us so close together, and we're just like always in the process of growing with each other. And I think that's the most important place to be in a partnership.
Totally.
Is like allowing your partner to grow and like holding space for that and being able to support them through it. And like we are our own selves. And I think acknowledging and loving each other for who we are, as opposed to trying to be something that they're not, is like a game changer. So like I feel like we're in such a great place, and I think that was hard at first because we come from very different experiences and backgrounds. And so, you know, I'm an Aries and she's a Scorpio. So we're a powerful duo.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
It's a powerful household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a part of growing up too, like in growing together, like there is this, I feel like we become more rigid and less rigid at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Where you have this expectation of someone to be one way. And then as you get older, you're like, okay, wait, we're all just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. Whereas like when you're young, there's almost like this selfishness of, well, I wish my partner would be like this. So I'll just dump you and then I'll have a new partner that is like that. When in reality, like that's not how relationships and love really work. Like you are able to look at your partner and be like, okay, I can appreciate these things about you, even though maybe in the past it would have been not on my checklist of, you know what I mean?
And listen, it's important to have like, you know, 7 to 8 out of 10 on your checklist.
Of course.
Like that should be the baseline because you absolutely can find the person that you're looking for. But, you know, there's always going to be some things that you have to just honor, you know, who they are.
No one is going to be perfect, I think, is the thing that you realize as you get older that you're like,
I mean, Becca is pretty, I'm like you're she is pretty perfect. I mean, she can do it all, but you know, there's, you know, you deal with family, you're dealing with, you know, trauma, you're dealing with, you know, all the unlearning things, relearning health, navigating that, her being there for me during my health issues, having space for that. Like, you know, we're human beings. And like when you're choosing your partner, it's like you're going through the ups and then you're going through the lows, you know, and, you know.
I love the takeaway, like, but Becca is perfect.
She is perfect.
She is perfect.
Yeah, she's pretty perfect.
Literally, no one has anything but good things to say about Becca Tilley.
I know.
I've never heard a bad thing
She's
about
never
her.
given me the ick. There's like, it's just weird. It's weird. It's just unsettling, to be honest.
I mean, it's got to be overwhelming. It's got to be overwhelming. Do you feel like you have any like super big takeaway that y'all learned in couples therapy that you would like share with other people?
I think that one thing that I've learned is when you're in like an argument, which sounds like a very, this is going to sound like basic 101, is that both parties just want to feel heard. And it's not, for me, I'm very like solution based. I'm very like, what is the solution? Like, how do I fix it? And 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with an argument with your partner, they just want to feel heard. They don't want an answer. They don't want to solve. They don't be like, I hear you. You feel like blank because of what I did, and I hear you, and I'm so sorry that happened. Like, period, end of story. And I have a hard time doing that because I'm very like, well, I did this because of blank, right? Like, a lot of people can get into a defensive state, but like that's like my biggest takeaway is like just creating space for your partner to be upset and to be angry, and then they'll be okay knowing that they feel heard, you know, as opposed to like, well, let me do this, and well, I did this because of this. And, well, you know, it's like the spiral, and it's just like that's not the point. They just want to feel heard.
It's so true. I'm literally the same way. I feel where it's like I have to check in with myself and be like, do you want comfort or solutions in general?
Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it too.
Not even just in, I find that I struggle with that, not even just with like personal disagreements with partners, but just like if someone is stressed about work and I go straight into, okay, well, if we do this and then we'll do that and then we can call this, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is not helping you. You just literally want me to like let you bitch for a second, and
they just want to hear you say, I'm stressed with work. Yeah, so stressful.
I'm like, but my brain's like, well, let's fix it.
Right,
we can fix it.
Yeah,
I can think
I'm
about
that side too.
And it's like been a big lesson for me to learn also, and also the defensiveness, because I feel I have this thing where I'm like, I take things personally, where I'm like, oh my god, it's this character driven. When I've had to have partners also in the past be like, I am not telling you that you are a bad girlfriend or a bad person. I'm just letting you know that this thing that you did hurt my feelings. Yes. But my brain immediately like spirals into, oh my God, am I bad? Am I not doing a good thing? And like, that's what I work. I haven't done couples therapy, but in my own personal therapy, so much of it is based off this like idea that I have this preconceived idea that I am a bad person,
Right.
and everyone will find out. And then when they find out, then my life will be
that's
like
a normal feeling.
Yeah.
You're not alone. You're not the only one.
I definitely think
Sorry to say.
I know. I'm not the only lesbian, and I'm not the only one who thinks they're a bad person. Yeah. No, but I do think a lot of it does stem from my queerness in thinking like, oh, I have this hidden thing about me, and when everyone finds out, then they won't like me.
Yeah.
And then after I came out, there was like 2 months of bliss of me being like, and everything is awesome. And then it like came back. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? I thought I fixed it.
It's our inner child.
Yeah.
To go even deeper, it's our inner child. And I resonate with that a lot too. Like, I think my whole life is being seen and feeling enough, proving my self-worth to not only other people but to myself. And like I can be a pop star, I can be this. And it's like a lot of it is just driven from like being a 5-year-old, like just wanting to be loved. Basic.
Yeah,
The
super
end.
basic.
Yeah, just basic
Just
shit.
basic shit.
Basic
Love me,
shit.
please.
It's like you just have to hug that younger self and be like, you are okay. You are not a bad person. This person can disagree with you or be disappointed in you and still love you. And I think that's like another like deep wound that a lot of people have to navigate too, is like you can be disappointed and still love someone and you're not a bad person for what you did.
Totally. Like you can't be I have to stop saying totally. I'm going to kill myself. I
didn't even notice you were saying it.
Oh my God. Earlier I said it and I went like this.
Who'd you get it from?
I have no idea. I'm trying.
You know how we like start
I don't know where
people's...
like your language. I don't know where it came from. I know that what I'm trying to do is validate whoever is speaking on my podcast. It mostly happens on my podcast. I want to validate, and I run out of words where I'm like, and I'm not even making fun of you. I literally do that the whole time. I'm like, yeah. And then I want to be like, oh my God, I totally understand. But you can't every time be like, I see where you're coming from. So then I'm like, totally. But I'm like, someone commented on my last episode and said, can you make merch that says totally? And I think that's why I'm being so conscious of it.
Well, I didn't even notice it, for what it's worth.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
Can I ask you one question about sex? But the question is, why don't you talk about sex?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really do a lot of podcasts.
It's so fair.
I also feel like, I express myself through music videos and books and in that way, in like a very sexual way. So I've never like had the need to like talk about it, I guess.
So fair.
Yeah.
No, it's so fair.
And it never really comes up because like I'm not selling sex or talking about myself in that way, I guess. I'm always talking about more just like my queer trauma or like more my stories and my creative endeavors. And so it's just like, it's not really a thing.
Yeah. Well, some people, because my podcast is like relationships and sex, some people were like, I don't want to come on because I don't talk about sex. But the sex part of it is so mild half the time. Well, it depends on the guest because I let them kind of decide how far or not far they want to talk about it. But you specifically said you don't talk about it. So I was just curious too, because I feel that I struggle. When I started making the podcast, I was single. So I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I can like talk about all of these things without any kind of like, and I was never going to be like, I never wanted anyone to know who I was talking about, but I was like, I'll be able to be more open about sex. Then I immediately started dating someone pretty much like a month into starting the podcast. And then people didn't know who I was dating till a little bit after that, right? But then I don't like talking. I'm having a harder time talking about sex because I don't want people to be thinking about who I'm talking about having sex with. So I was curious if that is a part of your journey too, because you're in such a public relationship.
I definitely have a public relationship, and I feel like it's just like not necessary. But, I think that sex is a healthy thing to talk about and it's a part of our everyday life. And so it's just not something that I like focus on. But I do think probably because our relationship is so public, I like to keep something to myself.
I guess that's so fair.
Just one thing.
One thing
one
could
or
be for
two
you.
things.
That's
you
so
know,
fair.
A couple of things.
I wanted to talk about sex because so much of my content has always been for like a younger version of myself. And that is the one thing that I realized, like, I never had people speaking about queer sex in a way that wasn't either like the L word where it's like hot and steamy sex.
No,
or
you need the representation.
Like, just like
have the conversations about it.
Yeah, less about sexualizing sex and more about like normalizing queer sex and then getting different perspectives on it. And it's interesting to see how much people are open or not open to talking about it. And even myself, like checking in with myself, because some days I forget to bring it up at all. And then I'm like, oh, whoops. But then some
It's
days,
good though. I'm glad you're doing that though, because I think it's important for people to be able to, I don't know, just have guidance. Like I think growing up, I didn't know what the F I was doing. I was like, how do you even have sex? And like,
no,
you know, how does one begin?
Yeah.
You know, because you only have so much content of like how to have sex.
I know. And
so,
it's like not
like
none
you're
of it
just
is
trying
good.
to figure it out on your own, and like, you know, you figure out through experiences and stuff like that. But you know, I think that that's great that you're able to give that to people, because it's just hard.
Yeah,
it's like
so
hard to figure out, and it's a lot of like trial and error.
It's
a lot of trial and error.
Yep.
And you know,
and you get to have, if you're lucky like us and you have queer friends, so much of that conversation happens behind closed doors of getting to be like, wait, what are you guys doing? Are you doing this or do you do that? Or like, where do you get, like, what are we doing? But if you're so many questions I get if I do any advice is always, how do I have sex with a girl? And it'll be like, I'm 32 and I've never been with a woman, but I know that I want to be, and I don't have any queer friends. And like, and then they're asking me like, how do I have sex with a girl? And I'm like, I'm running out of
class.
I know.
We need a workshop.
I'm like running out of answers to give, because like the reality is who it's so different person to person.
Yeah.
So you can't say one thing. And then it's like, it's just so hard. It's just so interesting how many people are dwelling on the same fear of like, I don't know how to do it. But it's like,
well, maybe that's what you lead with, right? It's like you don't know how to do it, and maybe the person that you're about to be with either has experience or doesn't, and then you figure it out together.
Yeah.
You know?
So true. Okay, last question. How was it for you? I'm dating someone who's never dated a girl. You were Becca's first girlfriend. How was that experience for you?
I've never dated a lesbian.
Ever?
Never.
Wow.
I've always been what they call a turner, or what, I don't even, it's like an old saying, but like I've only dated women that have never been with women.
How many women have you dated?
Not many.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, like serious relationships, I've had like, I think Becca, I don't even know if I consider my first relationship serious, but I would say like 2. And
including Becca?
Like I've had 3 like relationships.
Got it.
And I would say including Becca, and 2 of them, including Becca, were serious.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
And they've never, all of them are not lesbians?
Oh, yes. None of them had dated women prior to dating me.
Yeah.
And so my relationship prior to Becca, I was like, I'm determined to date a lesbian. Like that is my goal. Because I think for me, and a lot of my trauma is being left for a guy. You know, I would always be dating women that were discovering their sexuality or wasn't sure, not like 100% sure where they were at. And then I would always like not be chosen. And so that was like a big part. I mean, as you see, like it's always a love triangle between me and another guy. Because that was my whole life. And I don't know if it's like just how I'm attracted to people, or if I just wasn't in circles enough to be around women that knew their sexuality or were confident in their identity. But that was always just my experience. And so prior to Becca, I was like, I'm gonna date a girl that knows what they like.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't get burned. And then I met Becca.
And then,
But the thing is with Becca, it was different. Like when I met Becca, it wasn't like, oh, I'm not sure if I can be with a girl. Like she never questioned it.
yeah.
And our 2 younger sisters are queer. And that was different. And like every other woman I had been with prior, a lot of them, even in between the relationships, they're always like, I'm like, I want to be with you. I like you, but you're not a guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'd like be trying to convince them otherwise and be like, look how much I have to offer, you know, and I was in this like, you know, this state of, you know, proving my worth, which comes again back
From
to a
the
lot of my
childhood.
trauma. But with Becca, it was just different. Like she was like, I like you. You happen to be a girl. I didn't know I like girls. And here we go.
Yeah.
Like, and so that felt really good.
Yeah.
And,
I can see that.
you know, it just was like, it just wasn't even a question. And so it wasn't an issue.
Yeah. I totally,
You know? But I think, you know, I have a unique experience because I think some people have dated lesbians. Like, I've never gone into the room with the experienced person.
yeah, I have.
Yeah.
For sure. But I've also been you.
Yeah.
So I have both sides of that experience.
Yeah.
But I too, I feel like you get like the whole like you date straight girls thing, and I've never dated a straight woman.
No, they're bisexual.
Obviously. But I've also never dated a girl. I've never even had an experience where I was dating a girl who's like, I don't know if I can do this because you're a girl. Like more I've had the experience of people being like, how did I miss that I was into girls this whole time?
I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't, it became very self-involved.
Yeah.
Where it was
but it
just
seems like Becca, you do have that with Becca more, where Becca Moore, that's my girlfriend's name. But with Becca Tilley more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even in the conversations I've had with Becca, she's had a lot of like self-reflection on like relationships she's had with women where she was like, did I have a crush on that person?
Right.
You know, where that's way more, that's like a less scary person to date than the girl that's like, I would fall in love with you, but I like boys.
So that was always my experience.
And that's a much
so
more.
that was like every girl I chose to pursue was that type of girl. Or we would like hook up and then they'd be like, once I break up, you know, they'll break up with their boyfriend and then we'd like hook up and then they go back to
the boyfriend
and then they would text me and then I'd be like, you're in a relationship, like what are you doing? Like I was like the side piece.
Okay.
I didn't know my self-worth, you know, at the time. But, so, you know, that was a lot of my experience. So then when I met Becca, it just was like, oh, there are people that can just
accept themselves.
Yeah, be like, oh, I like a woman. And I'm going to go with that. And in my life, you know, had she not been like that, I probably would have still entertained it. But it just was so nice that she was in that place to just like accept me in this situation. Obviously, we had to navigate a lot of other things afterwards. But that was just like refreshing.
Yeah, I was going to say that must have been kind of healing to you.
I was just like, oh, yes, I am a woman. Yes, I am a woman.
Did you feel like you would sometimes have to act more boyfriend than you felt inside to like not scare off the women that you were dating before?
No,
you would be like still acting exactly the same.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think for me, it just was hard because they'd be like so into it. And then they'd be like, but you're not a guy.
So like a mind
And I'd be
fuck.
like, but you like women too. Like
I'm a woman and you like me.
Obviously, yeah.
I only asked because I was watching. Have you watched I Kiss a Girl? Or
no, I haven't, but I've heard about it.
You have to watch it. It's so good. But there was a girl on there talking about it last night saying that she's only dated girls who never dated girls. And she was like, and I have like a small chest, but like sometimes when I would be dating these women, like I would feel like, oh, if they touch my chest, they're going to realize, they're going to remember I'm a girl. That's Whereas like, I feel like I resonate with you more, where every relationship I've been in, I'm like, I am a woman. Like I'm a girl. So you're not dating a boy. you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've always identified as a woman, and I've always loved being a woman, but I've always like felt envious of men. And I've wanted to be them in an envious way, but I've always been like, I love, you know, that I am a woman, and I feel like I'm in the right body, you know? So it just was a different experience for me, but that makes me sad.
I know.
That she felt that way.
I know. Me too.
Know?
It's got to be happening more and more as well, if you think about it, as being a lesbian becomes cooler and as being queer is more acceptable. There has to be a lot more women like exploring their sexuality that then maybe are someone who wants to end up with a guy, though, at the end of the day. If you think about it, there's got to be...
Listen, I think it's great to normalize people exploring who they are and what they like and how they identify. And, you know, I think that's awesome.
Definitely.
But just don't be a dick when you're dating. Be honest with the person.
100%.
If you're just, you know, experimenting.
If you're just curious.
Yeah, curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, as my song goes, I'm just curious. Is it serious?
Which Becca, by the way, said that she used to pregame to every night in college. And she was like, I don't really understand how
Wait, didn't know. Not my Becca. I was like, my Becca did not.
My Becca. My Becca was like, you have to tell Hayley that. She's like, I don't understand how I didn't know I was gay. She was like, I made my friends watch it. Every friend she'd be like, isn't this music video great? Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I'm like, there were signs.
Oh, I love that. And I love that my music videos can be pathways of conversation for people's sexuality and like testing the waters. Like, hey,
what do you think
about this video?
100%.
You know, like I wish I had something like that. So I'm grateful that people are using that as a tool.
So that is so true because the music is amazing. The visuals and like the music videos are so digestible to all people, but then you could tell maybe if someone was a little bit more into it than the next. Like, I kind of want to watch that again.
Let's just watch it twice. Let's just see that one. The dance moves were really good.
You have to be the beginning of many a love story, or at least like a few makeouts for girls all over the world, being like, did you like that? How much did you like it?
Making the place a little gayer, you know?
One step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to tell people to look out for? Obviously, your book.
Yes, Where There's Room for Us. It comes out next November, which feels like a long time, but it's right around the corner. But you can...
It's right around the corner. It's really a year from now. It feels like a long time. I promise it's right around the corner.
I'm running out of time, Shannon. No, but it comes out next year. You can pre-order it now. Please do. So it's an amazing book. It's something I'm really, really proud of that I've been waiting to share for such a long time. And also just, I love the book design that we did. It has like neon hot pink edges and like, you know me, I'm putting a lot of time and effort into it. And it's something that I'm really excited for the youth, especially just in the climate that we continue to live in. Like, it's so important to just have queer joy. And this book has that. And so that's like my goal in life. So is to continue the queer joy because we need it.
We definitely need it. We're going to need it next year.
Yeah.
And you'll have it next year, November 2025. It's right around the corner.
For next Christmas.
Yes, perfect.
Get ahead of the game.
Yeah, buy it today. You can put it under the tree this year and next year.
Yes, yeah. Well, you can't put it under the tree this year.
You can wrap like a... You could
write.
You could.
Yes, that's true. It could be a nice, cute gift. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. And, you know, I'm working on music and other projects. And hopefully we'll have exciting news to share in the next, couple of months. But yeah.
Yay.
It's exciting things.
That's so
it's so nice to connect and catch up.
Thank you for coming.
Via microphones.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Like, we've known each other for a long time. So I'm very proud of you and happy to be here in this new studio of yours.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. It's so cool to watch. It's so cool to have been here for so long and see like so much that you've accomplished and in so many other ways now too. I mean, I should tell you, I literally admire you so much. I look up to you so much. And like, I hope that I can accomplish half the things that you've done. And like,
emotional.
I mean
Just leaving the tearworks for the end.
I really mean it, truly.
I cry when people say nice things.
I really look up to you so much. Like, your art is so, You're so aspirational, I think, to me and so many other queer people. Oh.
Hugs.
Okay.
She got the tears.
Love you so much.
Love you, Shannon. Thank you, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I love you all so much.
And Hayley's links will all be below, including the pre-order for her book.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye.
Goodbye. Oh, and also her old book, too. You should read that before.
Old. It's still new.
2023.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of old. Girls Like Girls. Go read it.
Yep. And watch it. I'll put the video down there, too.
Yeah. The music video. A throwback.
And Curious. So you can see what Nakamura was watching.
There'll be 25 links below.
And you should click them all.
Yeah.
Okay. This episode was sponsored by ZocDoc. Some things in life are okay to be a total crapshoot, like buying pants on Depop and not knowing if they're going to fit you or not, or trying a new restaurant for brunch. But finding the right doctor should not be a total crapshoot. Your health is very important, and ZocDoc makes it very easy. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. You can filter for doctors that take your insurance or doctors that are nearby, or for a doctor who's a good fit for the medical need that you might have. And the best part is you can also search for doctors that are highly rated by verified patients. So there really is no crapshoot about it. I'm so glad I discovered ZocDoc because it has changed my life when it comes to booking doctor's appointments. I'm no longer overwhelmed and I'm no longer scared that I'm going to end up in a doctor's office I should not be in. If you're like me and you've been putting off your doctor's appointments, stop and go to ZocDoc.com/exes. You can find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/exes. And one more time, that's ZocDoc.com/exes.